Okay, so back to games, which is
sorry.
probably why people are listening to this podcast. So Capcom, they had a whole bunch of stuff to show off. They had Dead Rising 2 co-op, a bunch of other Dead Rising news. They had, let's see, what else did we talk about?
Bionic Commando Rearm 2 was jumping.
Totally, jumping. And Okamiden, and they had, there was some other game. Yeah, but it was a fighting game. I can't, it was...
Bizarre.
Yeah, you're right. But no, there was another fighting game there, though. It was, what was it? Oh, that's right. Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
That little game.
Oh. Who's going to be in it?
Well, that's a very good question, and it's a better question to ask of someone who also can't answer it, but probably knows, and that would be Chris Baker. Chris, are you there?
I am here.
Wow. Hey, Chris.
Chris, now, you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you great, Chris.
Are you in L.A. or in New York? I forget where you're located.
I'm in L.A. I'm out where we do all the movies and cartoons and all the kind of more entertainment kind of stuff.
Excellent. And what's your title at Marvel?
My title is Manager of Licensed Games.
Manager of Licensed Games, did you say?
Games, yeah.
Manager of Licensed Games. Okay, I don't know if you said games or things. I think it would be cool if it was things. Manager of Licensed Things. And then you'd only be in charge of the thing. That's the only character.
Thing is games.
Okay.
Wait, so, Chris, for people who don't understand that title, what is it you do? What is your day in, day out sort of job?
Well, there's a lot of facets to it. The sort of core part of the job is basically it's my job to make sure that all the Marvel characters are represented in the way that they should be. The stories are represented in a way that reaches the Marvel standard, and it's everything. It's from the concept stage to the story process to just character development to the marketing that comes in near the end. We're all part of that too.
Chris, can I be blunt for a second? Can I be blunt?
Sure.
Okay. I read the story that Brian wrote about you today, and you had to describe your job, like the kind of decisions you'd have to make. And one of the decisions you made, you said that you would have to make. You said this is an extreme example, but you would have to make sure that they didn't have Wolverine shooting lasers out of his claws. And I gotta say, that sounds like you have the easiest job ever.
That was an extreme example. I also like to use the example that we make sure that Spider-Man's costume isn't pink.
Another easy call, I think, right?
There are very easy calls to make. There are also some tough calls to make. It's a lot of little things. Like, I think you guys know that the key to making things great is making all the little things really add up, so that you kind of almost don't even notice. It's like, the best CG that you see in movies. Yeah. Is the stuff you don't even know is CG, right? So it's sort of my job to make sure that all the details of anything related to Marvel through all of our games, Marvel vs. Capcom, Spider-Man games, what have you, that all of that is in line with who the characters are. It could just be the way that a character says "ouch,"
like Wolverine would never say "whoops," right? I'm guessing.
Exactly.
Or "whoopsie." No, whoopsie.
He would never say "whoopsie."
I don't know. He might say "whoopsie." No, he wouldn't say "whoopsie." But it's kind of a hard job to explain. Really, it is. It's very unique, and
it sounds fun.
It is more than just making sure Wolverine doesn't shoot. Yeah. Things out of his claws. Which, footnote to that, if there's a compelling story reason for it, then we might even allow it.
Yeah. I do remember Spider-Man was cosmic powered at one point, if I remember correctly. Exactly. So strange things can happen to these powers. I wanted to ask you, when I go to the comic book shop, Chris, often I overhear such deep philosophical arguments as whether Captain America could beat up the Incredible Hulk. And I'm wondering, is that actually part of your job? Have you ever had to say to somebody, no, superhero X isn't that strong, or no, superhero Y couldn't actually beat villain X, like that kind of thing? Like, do you actually know who's stronger than who?
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, go with your fanboy instincts, first of all. I mean, you guys are at least pretty big comic fans to a certain degree, right? You know your characters.
Yeah. I love when Superman was in Secret Wars. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Chris Ente doesn't even get that joke, but
I totally get that joke. Just because I didn't guffaw doesn't mean I didn't get it.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, so basically, my first rule about things is to go with my gut. And, I know the characters really well. I couldn't tell you what Wolverine said in issue 138
Whoopsie.
On page 15. Oh, yeah, it was Whoopsie, wasn't it?
It was.
Well, no, and
that's why we have a big research library. There's all sorts of resources available to us that we actually go and research. Has Captain America ever fought Wolverine? Or I'm sorry, it was Hulk, right? Captain America versus Hulk.
Yeah.
That's your example.
Yeah.
Well, and now, Chris,
then?
you and I were talking last week about I was mentioning one of my early run-ins with the lore of Marvel in the shape of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, the very first one that hit in the early '80s, and how incredibly for a very brief period of time, people were essentially willing to trade their kidneys for this thing, and now it's it's not only something that fans use, but it sounds like that's sort of your working guidebook. Is that right?
Oh yeah.
And this thing would tell me whether Captain America could beat the Hulk?
Not in so many words. Yeah, you've. It kind of depends on the kind of game you're working on as well. Obviously, with Marvel vs. Capcom 3, you got to make a few allowances because Hulk could pretty much beat anybody. Speaking from pure just fanboy, your general fanboy knowledge.
The Green Hulk could, not the Gray Hulk.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well,
Hulk is gonna pretty much beat up anyone, especially Chris Redfield from that trailer that we saw.
Yeah.
Oh.
But you got to make a few allowances because at the end of the day, it's all about the gameplay and what makes a fun game. If everybody just picks the Hulk and beats the crap out of everybody else, then eventually you're just gonna have Hulk versus Hulk in different colored shorts or however we decide to do it.
Well, hey, I mean, if you were going to name the game Marvel Kills Capcom, I'd buy it.
Now, and Totillo, you joke about that guide, but I will point out that it is through that guide that I was able to remember who Lady Bova was, because that's where she was first introduced to me, at least. And while I didn't include it in the story I wrote, I was physically demonstrating to Chris and others at Capcom last week what Lady Bova's milking attack would have looked like had she had one. So be thankful you weren't there.
Yeah, wow. Brian, I've since wondered what you would actually call that attack.
I don't know, but it would be awesome.
There are so many different possibilities, like bovine blast, perhaps.
Oh man.
Or
okay. As fun as this is, we have to go to live callers though, because they'll get angry at us.
Yeah.
With the thought of bovine blast in my mind still.